Good afternoon and welcome to OG Dweeb. It's overcast out today, a little warmer but still overcast. I'm really still waiting for actual summer to arrive here in the cornfield. I made a recording earlier and I wasn't thinking and the air conditioning unit was on. It sounded like a garbled mess. And on top of that, the train came by and nobody wants to hear that. It's annoying enough that I have to hear it a couple times a day. So yeah, I thought maybe we'd talk about some pop culture today, like comic books and Star Wars and Star Trek and Dungeons and Dragons and board games, things like that. Things us old school nerds enjoy. For those of us who were nerds before it was the cool in thing to do, people picked on us and some of us got beat up because we liked this stuff. Now it's like a badge of honor. We carried the torch for all you guys. Can't we have a little bit of respect? Maybe a little bit? But yeah, the comic books. Now, I've said before, I read the X-Men in the 90s, and I didn't purchase any more comic books until my daughter was reading Suicide Squad. And Suicide Squad is not really my thing. I did, browse a few books here and there when I was up waiting to start a board game or my D&D session at the comic book shop. But other than that, I hadn't purchased anything for myself until I recently backed Cyberfrog. I have an unnatural fear of stinging flying insects, and I'm anxious to see that frog slapping those wasps down. It sounds like a fun story. I enjoy Ethan Van Sciver's humor, I enjoy his channel, and I wanted to support him. So I'm eagerly awaiting Cyberfrog. I enjoy watching the comics channels and follow quite a few of them now, because I love hearing the joy and enthusiasm in their voices when they come across a good story, an exciting plot line. But also, unfortunately, what comes with that is a lot of disappointment and almost like heartache when they come across a book that contains a character they've known and loved for years that has become someone that they don't recognize anymore. Some of these guys have put thousands and thousands of dollars into these books through collecting. God can only tell how many hours they've spent reading and perusing the books. I'll give some examples for myself. Wolverine's my favorite comic book character. We're talking about Logan, old school Wolverine. The short, stocky guy. He's rough around the edges, but he has a heart of gold when it all comes down to it. Sometimes he's hesitant, but he always comes through. Rogue and Gambit are my favorite couple. Just that whole dynamic there, and that would be pretty frustrating, I think. And, Kurt Wagner, Nightcrawler. To outsiders, he looks demonic, but he's actually a devout Christian. These are some characters that I can relate to, and I enjoy, and now Wolverine, through plot, has become a woman. Nightcrawler is no longer a Christian. The things that made me relate to and love those characters aren't there anymore. They've become just standard whoever's now. Then we've got Star Wars. I told you I wouldn't make any more Star Wars videos. You know how I feel about that. My old video about, I made it about maybe 6 weeks ago. Tells it all. Same thing though. Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Princess Leia, characters we have loved for some of us for 40 years are just thrown by the wayside like a piece of trash. The new characters got no development. There's nothing relatable or likable about any of them because we just haven't gotten to know them at all. Then we've got Star Trek. I love The Next Generation, Captain Picard. I love the friendship between Data and Geordi LaForge. Worf is an interesting character. The dynamic between Deanna Troi and Riker, that was an interesting thing for a while. But I was talking to some of the girls on Twitter the other day, and I guess the Star Trek Discovery is absolutely awful. I'm glad that I haven't tried to watch it. I've said before, I got rid of cable 6 years ago, so any TV shows that I watch, will have to be available online somewhere for me to see them. Other than if they're on like the regular standard, what is it, like 30 network channels or however many I get with my antenna. D&D and board games. Oh, what's going on with that right now is something else. I actually unsubscribed from the Dice Tower the other day when a woman insinuated that lightly tapping someone on the shoulder to get their attention is borderline harassment. Sorry about it. That's ridiculous. I don't know why anybody would want to go to any of these cons anymore. Now they're getting to the point where some of them are no longer serving beer. Beer in a board game, come on. D&D is racist and sexist. That is the least racist and sexist game I can think of. You can be anyone you want to be. I'm 5 feet tall. I'm a female. If I want to, I can be a 7-foot tall male orc if I choose. One of the best well-played characters I've ever personally played with was a gentleman who was about 6'3" and weighed almost 300 pounds, I would say. He played a female pixie. I mean, the mannerisms, the voice, he had it down. And it was one of the most enjoyable, probably the most enjoyable campaign I've ever played. It was a Spelljammer campaign. Board games, same thing. I've heard complaints from Magic the Gathering players about some of the goings-on within the community, as well as the way that some of the traditional characters within the game have been changed. It's getting harder and harder to find new material that I'm even interested in. Maybe it's because I'm getting old. Maybe this is what getting old is. You know, the damn kids get off my lawn type of thing. You know, you damn kids, leave my characters alone. But that's not really what I'm saying. If you want to introduce new characters that are well written, by all means do it. I'm sure nobody would have any argument with any new character that you're bringing out, regardless of their race, gender, their sexual identity, their religion. I don't know. For me, I think the world would be a boring place if everybody looked the same, thought the same way. I don't know. I like variety. And like I say, I think that introducing new, well-written characters would be well received. As long as you leave the old characters the way they are. There's got to be some kind of compromise. You know, telling your consumers to go F themselves if they don't like it, don't buy our product. You're not going to be in business for very long with that kind of an attitude. You know, with Indiegogo and Kickstarter becoming more prevalent, these disgruntled consumers are going to be going elsewhere. You've got, we had Jawbreakers, Cyberfrog, Red Rooster's coming out, what's it called? Ravage Kill All Men, Jack, what's it, the Steel Cowboy, things like that. So we've got an alternate comic book source. One of my favorite board games that I've purchased in recent times was, I didn't buy it off Kickstarter, but it was kickstarted. It was Burger Up by Rule and Make. I absolutely love that card game. My niece loved it so much, I bought her a copy for her birthday. It's a well-loved family favorite now. Yeah, so it's sad to hear the disheartened tone of voice from longtime fans of pop culture franchises that are disenfranchised. But let's look at the bright side. We still have our old books and our old recordings of the old Star Trek reruns. We still have those. We still have our, well, I'll tell this story some other time, but my second edition D&D stuff got left in the move. But I have a 5th edition book here, so I've still got my D&D supplies here. Again, I've got my old school board games that I like. And no matter what they change in recent times, they can't take that, our memories and our physical copies of the stuff we love away from us. Yes, it would be nice to have new content that's interesting and fun, but they can't take our old favorites away. And with that, I'll let you guys go. I'll talk to you later.